Hey guys, welcome back. Ryan here with another stock technical analysis video. Today we'll be looking at the chart of SOXX, and that is just the iShares Semiconductor ETF SOXX. Pretty important index to keep an eye on. Basically, if you want to keep an eye on market direction, overall where the market's trending, this is going to be a good indicator to do that. So this is something that I watch fairly regularly, just to keep an eye on things. So let's get started. I'd also maybe like to, if we have time, kind of compare this like volume and how this trends versus something, say, of a smaller cap and how that looks with volume and how that trends. So if we have time, we'll do that. But let's get started. So also one thing I'm going to point out early on, I do use the stochastic. It's a momentum oscillator. I like to use the Keltner index. That's just a range-bound indicator. And then also I do keep an eye on volume and average volume. Also, this video, I would like to kind of point out some things that I've learned from Stan Weinstein. Some basics, but it does kind of keep market direction in order, and I'll kind of go over some of that as well. So hopefully I'll incorporate some of that. If you haven't read his book, if you're kind of newer to technical analysis, Stan Weinstein is great. Look him up on that. Mark Minervini as well has taught me quite a bit on that as well. So let's get started. So what we're going to do is we're just going to look at January from 2021, and I go from the left to the right here. So let's take a quick look at where we're at here. So this is January 2021. We're at the 375 range, and to the right of the chart, we're at the 450 range. So, this is, as you can see right away, it's kind of trended up, trended down, trended up, trended down. So really this looks more like a consolidation sideways, although it has appreciated. Obviously it's gone up, some near 70 points, 60 some points. So had a pretty good run here. It was a little choppy. You may have gotten sold out depending if you had stop losses in there or not. But this is along the lines of like SPY, the S&P 500 index, where if you're going to buy into this, most likely you're going to hang on to this for a while. It's really not a bad stock to own for a long time. I think we're going to see it trend pretty nicely. But let's take a look. So choppy action, up, down, up, down. So right there, you can trend this pretty easily. If you wanted to play this as a trend, you buy on this big up day here. Obviously, you can see the pattern. So you're not going to be wanting to buy at this juncture as of this moment. Now, if it breaks free from these highs, could we? Yes, of course. You may want to jump in there, but we'll look at all that. But some place like this could have been a good entry point for this stock. But let's say we don't own it as of right now. So let's just moving to the right side. Let's kind of keep an eye on this mid Keltner channel, and that can kind of maybe indicate if we should buy into this. Also, we'll keep an eye on volume, average volume, and just the overall look of this. So let's continue on, and most likely going to consolidate sideways for a bit, but let's watch this mid Keltner here. And just sideways action, sideways action. And this looks like it could potentially break above these highs back here at 448. It has done that. Let's see if it does it with conviction. So the volume's dried up a little bit. You're going to notice the SOXX volume is going to be a little bit different than other stocks volume, though. Still choppy action. We have a range here, though. From back here, we got 448 to 388. We'd want to see this thing kind of break out from that, and that's kind of what we're going to look for here. And if it does, we should be a buyer. You could be a buyer here. I didn't like the volume all that much here, but SOXX is it's a pretty big index, and it's going to be hard to really move the needle with a lot of volume. You're going to see pretty high average volume overall, is what I'm saying. So on that, So just staying with this Keltner a little bit, the mid Keltner channel, you know, it broke below the mid here, didn't really break below the bottom line. So we've got kind of a tighter range here, which is good. You kind of want to see a tightness in action, and that Keltner can kind of be an indicator of that. As you notice here, it's a little more elongated. It's a fatter range here, so a little choppier action. So maybe you could trend on that, you know, swing trade those, and when it starts to get a little bit tighter, you can kind of maybe plan to go a little bit longer. So it is going upwards. You know, we reached 468 up here. It broke from this 448, so it is gradually getting a little bit higher. You're noticing the lows are getting a little bit higher as well. You know, 386 to 425. So this is a little bit of a higher consolidation upwards. You know, higher highs, higher lows, and let's see, it bounces right from there. So you could really be a buyer here too. I don't think that's a bad play. Stochastic looks pretty good. Volume is really kind of insignificant at this point, but we'd like to see some buyers come in. But you notice higher lows. You're noticing a range though. Let's see if it can break above this 470, but this could be a good entry point. So we'll get in here. We'll see what it does. And it goes back up to that 470. Let's see if it breaks above that. So kind of just this. You'll notice back here, it was a little longer range like I just mentioned, and now it's getting to a little shorter range over here. Okay, so if we bought in here, looks like it's going to go to 470, and it does. Will it break from that? So it's broken from these previous highs. It created a new high here. Let's see where it ranges though. And yeah, it may just try to find a lower bottom, or a higher bottom, excuse me. Or it may come completely back down here. Nope, there it goes. So it goes right back up again. That's where I think we bought. And now it's going to retest that 470. Kind of stay in a range. Now it's wanting to kind of stay above this mid kelp. If it breaks above this, I would probably purchase more. I like this action right here. It's getting tighter with that range, with the quick up and the quick down. So that's a good thing. This is just wanting to consolidate a little bit higher. It's staying a little closer to this mid-Keltner channel. Volume is still kind of not really with us on this, so be wary of that. But yeah, it's just staying right above that until it breaks slightly below. And could this be the turn downward? This could be a turn downward. Make sure you set your stop loss, of course. You know, SOXX, you could have it a little farther out, just like SPY. You could have it maybe 15, 20 points out, but just depends on your risk measures that you want to put in place. You know, how much do you feel comfortable with losing? You know, that's something you should always ask yourself before you even get into a trade. I normally don't like to lose, you know, 4 to 6% or more. You know, usually 6% is probably my limit, but I try to keep it within the 4% range. But with something like SPY or SOXX, you know, I have a little more leeway. Usually if you get in there, you're going to be up pretty quick. So you have a little more leeway with that. But so you'll notice some volume did come in here with the sellers. It was a pretty big spike versus everything else we've seen in the past with volume there. So yeah, it's over 2 million in multiple days, 1.8 million there versus, say, the last update was 802. 802,000. So that's a big increase in volume. So I would watch stop losses here, but I would also kind of keep in mind this could stay in this range here. So this isn't exactly frightening. I would just expect, you know, this could bounce. This could continue down basically. So let's see where this does go. And that's today. Okay, so that was quick, wasn't it? Goodness, I should have done longer. I apologize. So that's where we're at today. Could this be a top right here, 477? Very possible. It looked like it was consolidating nicely upward, but it did kind of, you've got a succession of red bars here. They're kind of within each other here. So that's, we just want to keep an eye on this. You did see some sellers come in. So you saw people take some profit. It had kind of a nice little channel here, and then it just broke that. So it did not hit below the lower Keltner line, but this is something that I would keep an eye on. I'd set my stop loss, if you bought back down somewhere back here or whatever, keep an eye on that. So, but it was starting to break above these highs. It broke above 448. It got into the 450 range. It had some resistance here at 468, but it bounced back up, resisted again. And so you can see this, you could almost kind of call this a triple top here, if not a quad. You got one bounce off the top here. You got another bounce off the top here. You got one more, and then right here, it just didn't want to hold that up. So this looks to be the top, just like SPY at the moment is around 450, I believe. This will be 476. So what we will want to see is if it can maybe stay in this 438 range or this 426 range. Let's see how far this can break down. I wouldn't be a buyer here at this point. I want to see some reversal on that. It's also showing that some sellers did come in. So that's definitely I would say a hold or a sell at the moment. Definitely put a stop loss on, but something to keep an eye on. We could see a little bit of a downtrend here with the overall market. So what we do have time. This was only about 11 minutes. So what I'd like to show you now is just something a little on the small cap side. So this is Signet Jewelers. You're going to see a difference though versus how this kind of plays. The reason I'm doing this is I want to show you just how volume can be different and how it can kind of trend a little bit differently. So let's take a look. So this is the beginning of 2021. Okay, this is January 2021. I did add a different relative strength stochastic meter here. I'm just trying this out to see how I like it. If I like it the same as the stochastic, what it's doing is it's measuring RSI, relative strength, and stochastic, which I do like to use relative strength. I feel it does have an importance. It can be effective metric. I like to see it. You will see a stock, say for instance, bounce. If you see a stock bounce from like the 40, 48 to over the 50 line, that has a tendency to be the marker of, okay, this thing may want to trend higher. So I kind of like to use that. I don't necessarily need to use it below the 20 or above the 20 or above the 80, excuse me, as a overbought, oversold. But I like to see where it bounces. If it hits like a 0.44, I like to see it bounce right above that 50, or if it hits a 0.48, right below that middle line, 0.50, I like to see it bounce from that. And if it does, it usually wants to trend a little bit higher. So that's kind of what I keep an eye on there. So let's get started. Left to right, where is Signet Jewelers started here? So it's actually at 21.70 over on the left side of the chart. You'll notice that it took a pretty big dip here. It went all the way from 28 to just under 6 on the day there. So this looks like it would have been a nice entry point at this point. You're getting this thing on the cheap. Depends on what happened here. I mean, if they really came out with a horrible earnings report, you may want to consider twice about it. But probably a low risk entry here. If you see a bounce, you see another bounce, you see another bounce. Right here, I could have added to this, and I know it's not, $5 range, but this is more in the 10, 11 range. I feel like there's still some value here. So, but let's take a look at things. So you actually got a jump in volume right here when it did start to kind of pivot, reverse on that. So what Stan Weinstein going back to him here, the author, the technical analysis guy, this would be considered kind of a stage 4. Okay, so you have kind of a, at the moment you have like a top, it looks to be trending downward, and this would essentially be like a stage 4 type decline. So a 4 is a decline. This consolidation could be considered kind of a stage 1, whereas if you start to see that round shape, upward trajectory, if this would continue consolidating upward, that would be more like a 2, where 2 is considered like a, kind of like your buy range, where you want to start keeping an eye on the stock. But I know Minerbini likes to see that 2 range extended a little bit to get that contraction pattern, so that he's buying when the institutions are buying, which is where he gets his super performers. But so this would be kind of a stage 4 downtrend. You could call this a stage 1. You could buy in stage 1, but you'll see it kind of it hit up to 17 and then broke back down to the 9 to 10 range there. That's why they call it a 1. It's not overly exciting. Volume did kick up here. Could you have put a position in here at 9.5? Sure. I probably would have bought in some range here, maybe the 10 range, just to see where it went. Put a stop loss in, of course. If you would have sold up here in this range, you would have taken a quick little profit, but I probably wouldn't have sold at that juncture. I would have tried to ride this thing out and see if we can't catch a number 2, can't catch a bigger, better trend. So let's continue on, though. You'll notice, though, the volume is much lower for the small caps, obviously. I mean, an index versus a small cap's a no-brainer. You're going to have differences in the buyers and the sellers. So, but it can be a little easier to determine the changes. I mean, look at this small volume, and then you see the buyers coming in here. So it's easier to kind of pinpoint that action, that change in trend, with the volume. So let's just continue on. We'll just say I bought here at 10 range just to open a position. Looks like down here is a low risk play at the moment, but they may have had a bad earnings report. Maybe the sentiment on this is bad. So let's just keep an eye. I do like this, though. I feel like it's kind of gaining higher lows. It's just built in kind of a little bit of a support structure. It could break down, obviously, but I do buy into these. If I see these just continuing on, I feel the longer it continues, the more strength it's going to build up. I'm going to start watching this mid-Keltner channel, mid-Keltner line, to just see where it strays from that. If it starts to break above it with volume, I would add, and just like something like that with a little increase in volume. You went from, let's look at it. Let's see. 1.2 to 3.5. So it tricked up the volume there. And stochastic looks pretty good. I could buy more here. I could buy at the 13 range. I'd feel comfortable with that, even if it reverts back down for the short term. It looks like, you'll notice, so you got a bounce here, you got another bounce here. I would buy even more here. I'd feel comfortable with that at the moment. I like the stochastic. Looks like buyers are just in control enough over the sellers, so I think this is going to move higher in the short term. So yeah, this is looking okay. It's staying right above that mid-Kelt channel. Let's see where it goes. And it breaks upward. So looking good. Higher lows, higher highs. It broke above this 17 previous. Let's see if it retests this high back here, which, what was that? That was 28.7. So now if we've got a half or full position in this, we're doing pretty good. We're making some money. We're seeing it do what we want it to do. Just trending higher. Broke above that. And could it have a little resistance here? Let's take a look at volume. Volume spiked up a little bit. Stochastic looks like it wants to kind of revert back. Relative strength is starting to give. And also we can look at that 50 range like I mentioned earlier. It's broke below that without resistance. I would check stop losses here. You may want to take a quick profit. But you could also kind of, it still hasn't really reverted back to this mid Keltner yet. I mean, I would ride this thing out. But understand it is a small cap. If you're more of a trend trader, you want to lock in profits, don't lose it all. But you've got a higher low here, a higher low here. Let's just let it form that little base higher up on that consolidation to build itself higher. So I would be patient with this. Be patient. And notice we're just moving the chart upward a little bit. So it's just creating a whole new range. We had our range down here. We had it broke from that, so it created a new range here, and it broke from that, and it's creating a new range here. So could this be start of a bit of a Minervini consolidation pattern? Yes. If it's gonna create a support here, and then maybe another one or two, we shall see. But it's looking pretty good. So we're definitely doing good here. If we bought at 10, we've doubled our money. If we bought at the 13, 14 range, we're doing solid there as well. It's just continuing higher, doing what we want it to do. Stochastic still looks good. Looks like value may be dipping slightly on the average here, but so this could get a little exhausted. We've created this channel that just broke above that. Now we're kind of in a new channel, and it just wants to continue higher. Small caps will have the capacity to run very smooth like this. That's why I do like small caps. Just look at it, follow this middle Keltner line. That's just beautiful right there. That's just fantastic. So continuing, it's 24, and it's just a nice big up day there. Looks good. Buyers are in control. You'll notice that the RSI has been at the 100 range, which so this thing is heated, man. It is on a roll. So what did it do though? It broke back above this high. Well, actually, it's testing this now, this previous area. So it's getting close to testing that, and yeah, it was just chugging higher. And will it find some resistance? 3 down days. It's kind of branched above this. You'll notice when it kind of hits above the top Keltner line, it has a little resistance area there. That's what we're seeing here. Let's see if this kind of reverts back down. Excuse me. You'll notice kind of a change in volume there. Big difference in the stochastic here. The RSI drops significantly. That's a little bit concerning. I would be looking to take some profit here if this gets into this range here. I want to see it what it does off of this low Keltner line. Bounces right at the midpoint. This is looking good still, guys. Could it start to break down? We're creating this a little smaller channel here, where we're at the high for now is 26, the low for now is 21.5, and it just reverts right back up. Look at it. It's going to retest these previous highs. Looking strong. We've nearly tripled our money now, and we have to consider taking some profit at some point here. If you've tripled your money, I wouldn't sell right now, but I would definitely tighten my stops. I don't want to give a lot of those gains away. 300%, whatever. That's a solid profit. And so yeah, we're breaking above the 30. So if we bought in at 10 initially, we're doing very good here, very well. Continuing onwards. Once it hits that top line though, it wants to kind of break down from that. But notice we're at 26 here, and we're in the 30 range here. So it's finding support to make it up higher. It needs some time to do it. And so these little dips down, they're really not overly significant. It's just finding a base to build higher. And now if this starts to go back down to this level, let's definitely think about taking some profit here, because notice it just, I mean, the trajectory is kind of strayed a little bit. This is extending versus what this was. You had, it looks like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 down days, and now you have more down days here. You've got 4, 6, 8, 9 or so down days here. So it looks like it's the buyers may be coming in down on the volume side. Yeah, stochastics dropped. Relative strength has dropped. So check your stop loss. Make sure you take some profits. Don't give it all back. And we see a reversal bar right here. Breaks above this previous low, well above, encapsulates that. So could you add more here? Um, you know, not much volume there. If you really like the stock, you could. If you believed in it long term, you could. This could easily retest this area here, but it just depends on how big of a position you have. If you took profit, you could get right back in. I would say that's probably what I would do here. I would get right back in. I would have locked in some profit depending on what I sold. If I sold 50 shares, I may buy 25 back here, just to see where this goes, and I may have to sell that quick. We shall see. But sideways action. So going back to Weinstein though, so remember, if you can recall, we were in that one stage, and when we started breaking upward, when this trajectory starts upward, Weinstein would call that a stage 2. So this upward action here, going from 11, 10 to 30, that would be considered a stage 2. Now this little section here from 31 onward here, that could be kind of considered, depending on where it goes, it could be the start of stage 3. So essentially you have upward momentum on stage 2. You have slightly turning momentum possibly for stage 3, and then stage 4 would be a downtrend trajectory. Okay, so that's kind of how Weinstein, it's kind of just making this as basic as it can be, and I do like that. I like keeping things simple, so I think that's a very good thing to do. Looks like we're looking at a little bit longer than SOXX did, so this reverts right back up. So if we bought right back in, that was the proper thing to do. Volume changed. Look at the stochastic. That it was a sharp upward trajectory there. So buyers did come back in a little bit. Relative strength has reached all the way back up to 100 area. Let's see where this thing goes. Let's see if it kind of shows resistance here or breaks it right above that. You could have added here even. Make sure you have a stop loss, but I'm not against adding here. I think this is conviction. I think this, I'm not sure what happened here, but buyers came in, they like what they saw, and it's being supported. So could this revert a little bit? This is looking strong right now. So definitely wanted to stay in this. And if we bought back down at 10, we now have a 4-bagger. Almost anyway. We're almost at the 40 range. So yeah, this has gone up pretty quick though. It's gone from literally 28 to 39 in a matter of days, maybe a week or so. Continuing upward, and will it find resistance here? This could probably be a little, if you didn't take profit back here somewhere, you may want to take some profit here. You never want to be too greedy. We're in this for to make some retirement. We want to do good things here. We don't want to get greedy and give it all away. We want to give it away to those that need it, but don't give it away back to the market. So good volume though. It did reverse on that, but not with a lot of sellers. So let's see if this can maybe just find a base. Remember, it touched the high of the Keltner line here. It's going to show some resistance from that naturally. This could turn right back. Yep. And looking pretty good. Yeah, there's really no reason. There really wasn't much reason to take profit here unless you just wanted to lock some in. Let's see if this stays right above this mid Kelt line here. And it does. It's just bouncing right off of that. Look at that. It just wants to bounce right off of that. 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So this is going to hit 50 most likely. And buyers came back in. Signet is looking awesome, man. Man, I wish I was, I would have loved to have been in this stock. I did not see it, but I did not watch it back then either. So, but this is a small cap for you too. I mean, understand that a GE, even a good stock like Home Depot or United Health are not going to make 400% return in such a short amount of time. I mean, it's impossible. You know, yeah, you've got multi-trillion-dollar companies like Apple and whatnot, but you know, that's tough task. So stochastic looks great. Things look great. RSI is staying strong. This thing is just riding high. Above 55. Man, this thing is beautiful. So look at it just ride right above this mid-cal line. So yeah, if we added back here, we're doing great. If we began our position at 10, added at 13, we're doing fantastic, man. This is fun. So big red down here. Major reversal in RSI. Volume showing. Let's see if it heads back to the middle or if it bounces from that. And look at that big reversal off the middle. So it felt like it wanted to go down, and it just like, nope, not even thinking about it. So sideways action, wants to revert higher. Holy cow. Man, this would have been, anybody in this stock, congratulations. You did well. Good for you. Share the wealth to those that need it. So sideways consolidation action. I like this though. Reversal, reversal, reversal. It's creating a channel. It's slightly upward. The trajectory isn't anything significant, but it is still going upward. And until it's not. And okay, so we're starting to see a rounded action here. Little bit lower average volume. You know, RSI, I can't really tell too much other than it's below this 50 line, which is an indication here that that's pretty weak at the moment. So looks like a lot of red bars coming in here as well. Looking, yeah, not so great. So I'd probably take some profit here. Yeah, I would make sure my stop losses are tight. You know, and it looks like the stop loss would not have hit depending on where you put it, but it just bounced right back up. It may reach the 70 range and it goes above that. Look at that. So yeah, our stop loss would not have been hit here because we, so we're still in this, and most likely we have a full position. We should have a full position. And above the Keltner, mid-Kelt. So it was flirting with that, wanting to break down, and it broke right above that. It's kind of staying in that midline though. And a little choppier, a little more sideways action, a little more sideways. Stochastics looking rough, dried up volume. So I expect this to kind of be a downtrend here with all this dried up volume, even though this thing has been a workhorse. Yeah, it's probably time to, you know, man, if you were in it here, this would be probably a very good time. If it starts to reverse here, take some profit because this could be a double top. And it gaps up and it breaks back down. Shorter range here. Notice 80 to 61, 62, 85 did break slightly. It reversed right off of that. This thing's getting tricky, but it's still just running higher, running well. So, and that's the end of it. Okay. Yeah, I went a little long there at the end, guys. Sorry about that, but I hope you got something out of this today. So, man, Signet just was a great runner here. Does it look a little bit exhausted? you know, it still seems like it wants to do something, but I would wait on this to buy this personally. But I mean, not to say, you know, it can't chug higher. I don't want to really dissuade your decisions or persuade your decisions. So that's completely up to you guys. But I would personally, you know, I would have rather have gotten in down way back in this range. You know, this was where you needed to get back in. So let's go over Weinstein real quick and then we'll be done. Okay, so stage 4, stage 1, right here. Stage 2, breakout, you know, and that could be anywhere from this range to this range. Just depends on what you want to call it. Stage 2, this is all stage 2. All stage 2. Starts to kind of want to get into stage 3, but bounces right off that, so it's really not. Consolidating slightly higher, and we're still kind of in the stage 2. It hasn't really formed that stage 3 kind of reversal, beginning to reverse, but it has started to consolidate. We've got our ranges here. It could get a little choppy and it could start to break down, but we will see. More information ahead. So guys, have a blessed day. Thanks for watching. Hit subscribe and like the like button, and goodbye.